Hello, it's time for another bonus. This week I have been mostly playing some Forza Horizon 2. In fact, I've been playing quite a lot of it this weekend. I am quite the fan of the Forza series, so, you know, a new one is a big event for me. And we also saw the release of my Doomed video last weekend as well, about Amiga first-person shooters. A bit out of left field, that one. I knew it wasn't going to do particularly well as far as views was concerned, but I knew it would be one of those videos, the people who liked it would really like it. And I thought it was a pretty interesting story about some pretty obscure games anyway. It's not a story that's often told, and it's something that's quite personal to me, because, I mean, these Amiga FPS games, they were games that I grew up with. The Amiga is a very, very special machine to me. It's the first machine that I really got into computer graphics with. It's the first machine that I got into digital audio and music composition. And it's also where I got into programming and animation and a whole bunch of multimedia stuff that I still use to this day. I got my first Amiga in 1991. It was Christmas 1991. I got an A500 Plus with the Cartoon Classics pack. And, that came bundled with a bunch of games. There was Lemmings. There was Captain Planet, which was kind of bad, but still kind of fun. And what else was there? Oh, Bart Simpson versus the Space Mutants. That was okay. Very, very hard, though. But it also came with a fantastic piece of software called Deluxe Paint. Deluxe Paint 3, to be exact. And it was a fantastic... It was the Photoshop of its day. Obviously, you know, considering it's an old piece of software, it's quite a bit cruder than Photoshop is, but nonetheless, you could do some impressive graphics with it. And it was the graphics editor of choice for many. In fact, I think I used it on the Amiga for a few years until I think Personal Paint eventually supplanted it. And then after that, I moved on to the PC and I finally picked up Photoshop. But anyway, I could wax nostalgic all day about the Amiga. You should just know that pretty much everything that I do with videos and stuff like that, it all has its roots on the Amiga. And I think the same might be true for quite a lot of other people as well. So anyway, Doomed, the Embers of Amiga FPS. Not the sort of video that I could earn a living off, but one that I could certainly earn a reputation off. Anyway, as far as what's on the immediate horizon, I'm in kind of a free-form phase at the minute. I pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever I like until Call of Duty turns up. I've got a couple of things planned, but the trouble with these one-off projects is they tend to mushroom into multi-week projects. I mean, this Amiga video took me 2 weeks to do. I was expecting it to be relatively short, but it kind of ballooned into a 15-minute monster. Next up, I'm working on the rebooted Retro Ahoy, and I've been given some mind to the structure of it. I'm trying to sort of pin down a structure for a potential short series of it again. And this sort of planning, it always requires a bit of time, and I want to get it right, you know? I want to make the best Retro Ahoy video that I possibly can. So I've been rewatching all of the old ones, I've been making notes, and, you know, I can notice some things that are egregiously wrong with them. The pacing is off, for one, and the structure's a little bit loose in places, so I think I can make some improvements on those fronts. But I've got to say, it's weird. It's weird watching my old videos from a couple of years ago, because it's like watching them fresh, because you forget what you did, and, you know, it's no longer my video, it's the video of me 2 years ago, so it's like watching a video by a different person. So I sound different in the vocal performance. Maybe, you know, less confident, slightly more monotone as well. Certainly with the pacing's very monotone. I think in new Retro Ahoy there will be, I think there needs to be some better spacing and gaps instead of just reeling off an essay. So I'll probably take some cues from the stuff that I've done with Iconic Arms. I think that's pretty good structure, because you've got the intro, you've got the 3 questions, and then you've got a pause. And the same's true for the outro. There's a definite break just before the outro, and then there's a wrap-up, and then the closing lines, and then the valediction. So yeah, all of this is getting some thought. Hopefully it'll turn out pretty well. One thing I did realise about the old Retro Ahoys is despite some of the flaws, I did find them quite enjoyable to watch back. But then I am quite interested in video game history. Anyway, let's answer some of your questions. The Defiance 11 says, "Hey Stu, I was wondering, do you have any advice for me as a 14-year-old learning programming?" Advice for young programmers? Keep at it. That's pretty much the only advice I can give, really. Programming is hard, and the weird thing about it is that it never really gets any easier. I mean, sure, the more you do it, the better you get, but there's always another challenge. And I guess that can be disheartening because, you think you keep on doing it and it gets easier, and it doesn't really. There's no crest of the hill to come over. There's always another challenge, there's always more to learn. But it's like anything, really. I mean, you just keep on trucking, you keep on plugging away, and eventually the things that you were struggling with in the past become second nature, and you, like I say, you move on to ever higher challenge. But I mean, if you're interested in computer science, if you're interested in a career, or even just, being a hobbyist programmer, whether you want to do video games or stuff like web programming, yeah, definitely worth persevering. Good programmers are few and far between, and so, if you are good, if you do get good, then there's quite often a few good career paths to go down. Isaac Wangan says, "Stu, how are you enjoying Destiny at the moment? Also, what do you think of the Crucible?" I was playing quite a lot of Destiny until Horizon 2 came along. I was doing sort of, my daily bounties and daily missions, that sort of thing. Since Friday, though, I have kind of cooled off on it a bit. I do feel like I'm spinning my wheels a bit as far as progression's concerned. I think I've got my Titan up to level 27, and now I'm just grinding for Ascendant shards and, doing exotic bounties, that sort of stuff. And very slow progress. I still like it. It's fun with friends, but I don't know. I feel as though I need more content, or I don't know. I do plan on doing a Destiny video at some point. In fact, I am working on a script in parallel to this Retro Hoy episode. I'm going to do the weapons of Destiny, just for the sake of completeness. It is my ambition to cover as many FPS games that come out as possible. In fact, I may even revisit some classic FPS games with the Weapons of format. So you can expect the Weapons of Half-Life to make an appearance. As far as Destiny's Crucible, I do quite enjoy it, yeah. I don't know, sometimes it feels a little bit unbalanced. Like there's some stuff, there are some weapons, there are some abilities that just... It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, mate. I think spawning with shotgun ammo and sniper rifle ammo, come on. I'm not a fan of those people who sort of just, hang back and snipe on the larger maps. In fact, I'm not a fan of the larger maps full stop. But otherwise, yeah, it's alright. It reminds me of Halo a little bit, it's kind of got that pacing to it. And when you've got a nice sort of even balanced set of teams, yeah, it plays pretty well. But a lot of the time, unless I'm playing with friends, I do feel as though I'm just playing for the bounties or the Crucible marks. And I suppose that's reason enough to play it, but, sometimes it feels like, a time sink. But that's what Destiny is. It's a time sink. It's a way to waste time. But then I suppose, that's what most games are, really. Lafarage says, "Third time asking, Sadface. Do you like the 3D Rayman games?" I wouldn't know. I've never played them. I kind of would like to pick up a Rayman Legends, though. Is that a 3D one? I think it's just a 2D one. Anyway, I haven't really played much of the Rayman series. I got burned out on platformer games in the 90s, and I haven't really gone back to them since. WindXD354 says, "Hey Stu, what happened to Game DNA? Will you ever make another video in this format?" Possibly. I think Game DNA is a pretty good format for like a modern classic. Minecraft was a good fit. I think something like League of Legends would be a good fit. Maybe Counter-Strike Global Offensive, that sort of thing. But at this moment in time, I don't have any specific plans for another episode, but it does remain on the sidelines and I might pick it up again in the future. Jimmy Trick says, "Have you heard of ASMR?" No, I haven't heard of ASMR. Willa Sheen says, "You know what? I feel greedy. I'm going to ask 3 questions. Have you ever played Outlaws by LucasArts? If so, did you enjoy it? And is it a possible Retro Ahoy episode down the line?" I haven't played it, I don't think. I have heard of it. I think I've seen videos of it on YouTube. I wouldn't rule out a Retrohoy episode, but I think I'm more likely to stick to games that I know. Just, well, because I know them better and I'm less likely to make a mistake. That's not to say that I won't cover games that I haven't played before. It can be a little bit more difficult, but with, judicious amount of research and, maybe some second opinions, third opinions, I think, I have done it before. The Soul Edge episode I did of Retrohoy, that was... I never really played Soul Edge back in the day. I had a dim awareness of it. Next question. If you could only drink beer, wine, spirits from one country, which one would you pick? It probably would be the United Kingdom, actually. For practical reasons, mainly. Our beer here is actually not half bad. We've got plenty of fantastic brewers. I'd be pretty happy drinking nothing but British beer. But of course, the real benefit of drinking domestic is the cost. British beers tend to be a lot cheaper in Britain than, say, foreign imported beers. So, by sticking with the local stuff, I get more beer for my money. And some of my favourite beers are from the UK anyway, so that's alright then. I would miss my German beers, mind you. I do like a Hefeweizen. But then, I like my IPAs, porters, and Scotch ales. So, yeah, Thankfully, I'm able to drink beer from all over the world, so, well, that's alright then. Final question, opinions on UKIP. Are they a fad that will soon die down, or the next third party in Britain? I don't agree with UKIP on most of their issues. I'm very much pro-EU, for one. But they do represent a valid political position. That they have attracted a significant portion of the voter base is obviously a sign that there are some people that agree with them. And, that's fine. That's democracy. That being said, whilst I can respect their political position, I do have trouble treating them as a serious political party. There's something a little bit third-rate about them. It's like you've got Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and then someone's put a Panda Pop on the end. And you're thinking, what's that doing there? Anyway, I should probably... that's enough British politics. The Americans will be scratching their head. What's a Panda Pop? I'm Scout, he says. How often do you come up with ideas for videos that you decide to scrap and just never mention to your audience? I have a big whiteboard that I write my ideas on. And what happens generally is things kind of get stuck on there. And yeah, they kind of just sort of hang about for a while. And then maybe half a year later to a year later, I might scrub them off and think, nah, that was a terrible idea. Let's have a look. What's on there now? Let's see. Okay, so I've got Retro Ahoy. Brief history of graphics, that's coming up. Also, brief history of driving, that's possibly another episode after that. A Retrohoy classic FPS series. Half-Life, Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem 3D, Unreal. I've written modern military games. I was thinking about doing a history of modern military games and sort of looking at the roots of those. Evolution of game difficulty. Quarter play, Contra Code, quick save, filthy casuals. An exploration of the changes over the course of gaming history as far as difficulty is concerned. That might work. You never know. Pay for play, a timeline of the cost of gaming. Okay, so yeah, basically how the cost of gaming has changed from going from arcade machines to, $60 cartridges or whatever, $80 cartridges on the SNES, to cheaper Steam games, to free-to-play, stuff like that. It could happen. What else have we got? Product placement in video games. Actually, that might work. I'd like to talk about product placement in video games. Probably do it as a special, like the Easter egg one. We could talk about games like Cool Spot, which was a paid placement for 7-Up. Or you've got, the Doritos, Dorito Dash, and then the Sneak King, the Burger King games, stuff like that. Or the Energizer batteries in Alan Wake. What else is there? Possible future Retrohoy series on console FPS games. Halo, GoldenEye, Turok, Alien vs Predator, Time Splitters, Black. Yeah, could happen eventually. Long way down the line though. What else? Dawn of DRM. Manual codes, code wheels, evolution to modern day. Yeah, I'd quite like to talk about DRM and piracy and the developments there. It could happen at some point. This one's probably going to get ditched. Flawed Diamond. Game's almost perfect, but for one fault. I couldn't think of any examples. Of course, it's one thing to come up with an idea, and it's another thing entirely to actually do it. It's all very well and nice to sort of write a couple of words on a whiteboard. When it comes to spending 3 weeks producing it, you might think twice. Mind you, the Doomed video made it through, so... I suppose it's only recently that my channel's been sort of more open to doing, different videos. I mean, a year ago, I was pretty much locked into COD, wasn't I? I had a brief moment after Black Ops 2 and before Ghosts. But, other than that, I was pretty much locked in all year. But now, I guess I'm a bit freer, so I can probably do some more experimental stuff. So some of these ideas might actually come to fruition. Actually, one thing I'd quite like to do is a review of the year. So at the end of 2014, I might do a review of 2014. Just, like a recounting of the event. Basically, 2014 is the year of the rehash, isn't it? You've got Tomb Raider, The Last of Us, Metro, probably Grand Theft Auto 5, all of these games being re-released. And because the new consoles don't have any other games, at least not many other games, people lap all this stuff up. So that might happen, it might not. We'll see, eh? I reckon that would give me some room for humour. I reckon there's definitely good potential for being a little bit snide in a review of the year like that. Not improperly so, just a light-hearted ribbing at some of the stupid stuff that happened last year. Or this year, I should say. Daniel Brady says, "Hi Stu, you've said in the past that you're a fan of racing video games. Do you have a favourite game, car, and track?" Favourite game? Well, I am quite a fan of the Forza series, I will freely admit this. I really liked Forza 5, but I think I would say that Forza 4 was the pinnacle of the franchise. I do think Forza 5 was technically better than 4, but it did lose out slightly on content. Now, having said that, they did add 3 tracks after release as free DLC, which is, that's commendable. And I never really felt like Forza 5 was wanting for cars, but Forza 4 had everything. It was, Forza 4 was a really good game. I also love the Colin McRae Dirt series. I think Dirt 2 was the pinnacle of that one. That's definitely my favourite anyway. Going back a bit further, Need for Speed Underground. That was definitely a highlight as well. As far as my favourite car is concerned, I like my cars lightweight, snappy handling and great acceleration. Stuff like the Lotus Exige, or any Lotus in fact. The Caterhams are always quite nice as well. I like the Ariel Atom, but it's a little bit ugly, so it loses points on that front. But I think my favourite car of all time might actually be the Ferrari F40. I don't consider myself like a huge Ferrari fan, I've got to be honest, but the F40 is perfect. Here's a fun fact, I actually wrote a video about the F40, and I was originally going to produce it with Forza 5, but I messed up and I deleted the footage that I recorded for it, so it never came to fruition. I even did some graphics for it, look. Oh, that back end though, come on, look at it, it's beautiful. It was only a short little video, it was about 3 or 4 minutes long, I think. But, what I should do is I should record with the F40 in Forza Horizon 2. Then I should put it together, because I think I actually recorded the voiceover as well. It was a very Top Gear-esque performance. So I might do that, now that I'm in a free-form time. I don't know whether I'd put it on my main channel though, because the trouble is if I did that, I'd build an expectation for more of them. And I have to be honest, I reckon I could do a better script now. Because, I don't know, it's a little bit short and the structure's not perfect. I think if I was going to do it again, I'd approach it like Iconic Arms, except I'd make it Iconic Cars. So, I don't know. I might do it. I might keep it secret though, I might, maybe post it on the subreddit or maybe on this channel. Anyway, favourite track. A couple come to mind. I like the Nürburgring. I don't think it's that great of a circuit, I just like the fact that it's incredibly long. I also like Laguna Seca. The corkscrew, it's fantastic. And, when you nail the corkscrew and you go through it, perfect line. That's always quite satisfying. So yes, there we go, that concludes car question. Anthony Fernandez says, Stu, what happened to Henrietta? Don't worry, she's alive and well. In fact, she gets on with our other two cats, Bill and Ted, better than ever. I think she's fully accepted now. My name's Tucker, says, Stu, FIFA 15 is out. Are you going to give it a try? No. I don't really play football games. I mean, I have played them in the past, but I can't say they excite me a huge deal. Yagi says, Stu, how about a katana? I don't want you to go glorious Nihon steel folded 1,000 times, but it is a weapon that crops up in non-historical games many times. Shadow Warrior, San Andreas, Red Orchestra, Fallout, etc. And a look at how it's often hilariously portrayed as having power nearing lightsabers would be really interesting. I'd suggest watching Lindy Beige's and Schola Gladiatora's videos on it. And remember, katanas equals views. Do you know, katanas are pretty cool. I think it could work. I'm not sure how many games have katanas in them. I'd have to do my research. But I'm sure there's enough. Goki Gjord says, how come you don't spread your video uploads out, rather than uploading a lot in a short space of time and then having long periods without videos? Just so we're clear, I'm not criticising, just curious, smiley face. I personally find that it's very easy to miss content when it doesn't follow any kind of schedule. If a channel I'm subscribed to doesn't upload for a while, I sometimes forget about them. Short answer, because I'm rubbish. Long answer, because my content takes wildly different times to produce. Like I can do some videos in the space of a few days, and some videos might take me 2-3 weeks. And I don't like to sit on videos. I don't like to sort of hold videos in reserve. I'm of the opinion that if I've got a finished production, I might as well get it out there, you know? Because the sooner it goes out there, the sooner I get the views, the sooner I get feedback on it, and the sooner I can, you know, learn, improve, move on with the next thing. My scheduling issues are further compounded by the fact that I'm non-24. I don't keep to a regular daily schedule. But I have come to terms with all of this, and I guess I've just got a laissez-faire outlook. You know, videos are done when they're done. They get uploaded pretty soon after that. Sometimes in order to do what I want to do, it takes time, and, you know, I guess if it makes for a better finished product, then it's possibly worth it. Besides, I take a little special guilty thrill in the frustration of the impatient on my channel. I should really get into the habit of doing shorter videos, just, you know, because a 15-minute video takes 3 times as long to put together as a 5-minute video. I think around 6 to 8 minutes, that's kind of the golden zone for my videos. Basically, iconic arm's length. Although even then, I have seen complaints that, you know, my 6-minute videos are too long. I guess you can't please everybody, but I would like to do some more experiments with short-form content. Because, you know, like a 3 to 4 minute video, I can put a lot of production in and still turn it out within a few days. It's food for thought, anyway. I think I'd quite like to experiment with a multi-part brief history format. That might be something that happens in the next couple of weeks. But for now, I shall just leave you with this bonus. So, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.